Harrington Manor was a grand old house. It stood on a hill overlooking the town. The house was home to the Harrington family. Dennis Harrington was a successful businessman. He had made his fortune in shipping. Dennis had 2 children, Daniel and Louis. Daniel was the elder child and a true Harrington. He was tall and handsome like his father. He had an air of confidence. It was clear he was being groomed to take over the family business. Louis, on the other hand, was a quiet and introspective child. Louis had been diagnosed with a learning disability at a young age. Doctors told Dennis she would struggle to keep up with her peers. They recommended special schools and lowered expectations. Dennis, though well-meaning, accepted their prognosis. He showered Louis with love and material things. He believed she needed protection from a world that wouldn't understand her. Little did he know, Louis possessed a secret strength. She had a thirst for knowledge that burned bright. Behind her quiet demeanor was a mind eager to learn. Louis spent hours in the manor's library. She devoured books of all kinds. Louis loved the library. It was her haven, her sanctuary. The smell of old books comforted her. The countless stories whispered to her soul. She felt a kinship with the authors long gone. Their words painted vivid pictures in her mind. The internet became her window to the world. Louis discovered online learning platforms. She found courses on everything that fascinated her. History, science, literature. She delved into each subject with fervor. She spent hours absorbed in online lectures and discussions. No one knew about Louis's online endeavors. Her family, accustomed to her quiet presence, rarely questioned her whereabouts. They saw her as the fragile daughter. They never suspected the intellectual giant she was becoming. The more Louis learned, the more confident she became. She discovered a talent for writing. Her words, once hesitant and sparse, flowed onto the page. She wrote stories, poems, and even started a blog. It was her secret garden where she could truly be herself. 3 years ago, Dennis Harrington met Veronica. She was a striking woman. Her beauty was cold and sharp, like a diamond. Veronica had a way about her, a charm that could disarm even the most cynical. Dennis, still grieving the loss of his wife, found himself drawn to Veronica's vibrancy. She filled the void in his life with laughter and companionship. They were married within a year. Veronica moved into Harrington Manor. Daniel, ever the charmer, welcomed Veronica with open arms. He saw her as a breath of fresh air. He enjoyed her sophisticated demeanor and sharp wit. Louis, however, was wary. Something about Veronica's smile didn't reach her eyes. Veronica, for her part, maintained a facade of politeness towards Louis. Behind her back, whispers about Louis's condition reached her ears. She never challenged the narrative. Instead, she played the role of the concerned stepmother. All the while, a seed of resentment began to grow within her. Life at Harrington Manor took a dark turn one chilly evening. The family gathered for dinner. It was a seemingly ordinary night. Roast beef, Yorkshire pudding, and gravy filled the air with warmth. Dennis, in high spirits, regaled them with tales of his latest business deal. Daniel, eager to prove himself, chimed in with his own insights. Veronica, as always, played the part of the attentive wife. Her laughter, however, seemed a little too high-pitched. Her eyes darted around the room. She seemed preoccupied, lost in thought. Dinner ended abruptly. Dennis, clutching his stomach, let out a groan. His face contorted in pain. He collapsed onto the floor. Panic erupted. Veronica screamed. Daniel rushed to his father's side and Louis watched in horror. The ambulance arrived within minutes. But it was too late. Dennis Harrington was gone. The official cause of death was food poisoning. A wave of grief washed over the family, but amidst the sorrow a seed of suspicion was sown. The days following Dennis's death were a blur. Mourners filled Harrington Manor. They offered condolences and whispered about the tragedy. The police launched an investigation into the food poisoning. The staff was questioned, the kitchen was examined, but no conclusive evidence was found. As the initial shock subsided, whispers began to circulate. The circumstances surrounding Dennis's death were strange. The speed at which he succumbed to the poisoning was unusual. Suspicion fell upon Veronica. She inherited everything. Dennis's will, written years before he met Veronica, left his entire estate to his wife. Daniel, though shocked, accepted the news with stoic resignation. Louis, however, couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. The whispers intensified. People speculated about Veronica's motives. She had been a gold digger all along, they said. She had poisoned Dennis for his money. The rumors, though unsubstantiated, cast a long shadow over Veronica. Weeks turned into months. The date of the will reading arrived. Family, friends, and lawyers gathered in the grand library of Harrington Manor. The room was heavy with anticipation. Veronica, dressed in mourning black, sat ramrod straight, her face a mask of grief. Daniel, his face etched with a mixture of sorrow and apprehension, sat beside her. Louis, her eyes downcast, occupied a chair in the corner. She had been dreading this day. She couldn't shake the feeling that something momentous was about to happen. The lawyer, a stern-looking man with a booming voice, cleared his throat. He began to read the contents of the will. The room fell silent. All eyes were fixed on the lawyer as he droned on about legal jargon and technicalities. Then, he uttered the words that changed everything. "And to my daughter, Louis Harrington, I leave my entire estate, to be held in trust until her 25th birthday."